What is up, YouTube? Today I wanted to talk about something I've been seeing that's pretty frequently in the YouTube world, and of course it seems to get a lot of hits, so maybe that's why everybody keeps doing it. But the $1 to like $1,000 challenge. Basically, somebody starts with $1, they buy a game or a card or something like that, and then they turn around and sell it for a little bit more, and then they buy more stuff, sell that for a little bit more, etc., 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 leading up to, you guessed it, you know, $1,000 or a $10,000 gaming collection, or, you know, so and so what. So first off, I want to say that this is not targeted towards any certain YouTube channels or anything like that. I've known a lot of channels that have done this, and it's just kind of actually to me a fun challenge to watch, just to see what these guys will and deal. The only thing we want to talk about today is basically when this challenge becomes not a challenge anymore, or when what do I want to say? Not that it's not a challenge anymore, but I don't know. Okay, so first off, what we want to talk about, what the deal with this is, and I think why a lot of people like to watch this is, first off, people want to learn how to resell games. They see how much money these people are all making. They want to do the same. What better way to learn than to watch other people do it? Now, the only bad part about this, obviously, is if one person starts doing this, then that means 100 other people are going to start doing this. And then over time, it will A, either get boring and not watched on YouTube, or B, it will inspire a lot more people to do it, thus making it harder for the regular game hunters. Now, I've talked in the past, I'm not huge against resellers. It's certain resellers I don't like. The obviously like obnoxious ones that are always like bragging about how much money they're making and stuff. That's kind of the ones I want, but the more humbled resellers are the ones that I enjoy watching, especially here on YouTube. But let's start off with one of the first few things is, now, what I love when I see channels do is when they do this challenge, and then in the end, they either give away the games or, you know, do something great with it. Whether it's, yeah, like I said, donate it or give it away. Not necessarily having to do a giveaway, but usually if it's something that involves like charity or anything like that, that's a real cool way to do it. Like I said, I've seen I think like Retro Rick, Pick and Preacher now, Keith Courage, guys like that have done these challenges and then donated or, you know, used it for good causes. And then, but then I've seen, and I've talked about this before, where I never understood some of the YouTubers, obviously, that are doing this for clicks. They will not admit it. That's the problem I don't like sometimes, is they will not admit it, but they will do collection videos, build a huge collection, sell that collection, and then start building the collection again. And thus they have easy content because all that stuff, the collection that they sold before, has given them a nice nest egg of cash or money. So now they have all this extra funds to basically just rehash out content. A lot of times you will see this for specific consoles that are usually trending, or just games in general that are very popular. And I get this. I mean, if you're running a YouTube channel for the sole purpose of views, subscribers, money, that's what's going to happen. And I think a lot of times this is what happens with the one, like the $1 to $1,000 challenges, is you're in this to get money, you're in this to get the views, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys that that's not what you're going to do, because let's face it, at one point I was in that same boat where I just wanted views, I wanted subscribers, and I wanted to try to make some money on YouTube because it was funding my hobbies. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth when it comes behind it. But at one point, though, we got to think of, when does it become unethical? And I know, so when I watched some of these challenges, specifically there was somebody doing these sports cards, and they were doing this challenge, but they were not showing any proof of what they were selling these stuff for. They were just going by, okay, you gotta trust me, this is what I sold it for. So they would, you know, I think he started off with $10 or something like that. went to a local card shop that he knows, the owner, and we'll get to that part later about how some of these bigger channels, though, to use their infamy or famousness to get this challenge done easier, which I then think makes the challenge no longer acceptable. But yeah, he takes $10 and gets a couple cards, sells them on Whatnot, which that was proof right there. Was okay, yeah, he did sell those on Whatnot and he showed the sales. But then there were some times when I would see him saying, okay, I met this guy somewhere and I sold him this card for this much, but he didn't show any proof. They didn't show any kind of proof or whatever. You just had to go by what they said. So then, then they do that ding, and then they show how much money they're made up there, and then blah, blah, blah. And then, you're all like, oh, cool. I mean, it was, let's face it, it was entertaining to watch. But then sometimes, I guess you can call it the negativeness in me. But I just thinking, too, it's like, okay, well, how do I know you sold it for that much? I mean, you could have just said, hey, guys, I sold this for $30. Ended up taking a hit and selling it only for $14, but you want to make good content and, like I just said, be entertaining, so you lied about it. And I know that happens all the time on these YouTube channels. People won't believe it. They'll fall for anything in these Mr. Beast videos, these reality TV shows, all this stuff where they fake and lie about everything, and people just eat it up. Oh, no, Mr. Beast would never do that. He donates a bunch of money to charities, and I'm not saying he doesn't. But I mean, like, some of these challenges where it's like, stayed buried for 7 days or something like that, they don't really do that. They cut the cameras. Now, if he streamed for a week straight, him being in that box, I would understand that more than just saying that and then cutting all the time and making a 20-minute video. And that's what a lot of times, like, you'll see people that wheel and deal and do these challenges and stuff like that, and then I'll be like, sorry, my camera wasn't charged, or I forgot to hit record, or something like that, and then you're like, but I ended up selling this game for this much to this person off Marketplace. And it's just kind of like, okay, I guess whatever, I'll take your word for it. But I would think if you'd had to do these challenges like this, I'd want to see complete proof every time. I know a lot of channels, like Easy Gamer and stuff like that, when they sell stuff, or they buy stuff, they will show you the value of what has recently been sold on eBay. He used to do it all the time where he'd use like the gunshot and then boom, put up for how much it sold, and everything went along like that. And that's what I enjoy sometimes more than just saying, oh yeah, this sells for $30. How do I know that? You could just say that. But if you show me, like I said, and I know it's kind of more of a pain in the butt to do it that way because you literally had to pull it up, screenshot it, put it off to the side, and then do it for editing. But of course, a lot more people out there have a lot more time and enjoy editing a lot more than I do. I enjoy just kind of sitting here talking and then uploading my videos, and I focus more of my time on replying to every comment and stuff like that. So, but that's just something, we see lying every day. And if you believe that most channels on here are not lying to you, then yeah, I'm sorry, but because I've seen it, and I've talked to people, and they will tell me, yeah, I did, I really kind of didn't do that, but it made a good video, so I put it up. And I've done that. Everybody's done it. If you got on YouTube, for the most part, and said that everything has been truthful that you put on here, let's face it, at one point or another, you wanted to become bigger, and yes, you could say this is a hobby and everything that goes along with it, but there's usually the clickbaity titles, the clickbaity thumbnails, the making up extravagant stories and all that stuff. And in the end, yeah, it comes down to just wanting to make entertainment for your friends, for new subscribers, and just for people, and what do I want to say, to make it freaking entertaining. Now, secondly, the only thing that I dub sometimes these challenges unworthy, or not worth it, not really accomplished, is when the person has a huge following and they use that to their advantage. They go to conventions, they go to, let's see here, stores or anything like that, and You know, they're just like, everybody already knows that, hey, oh, this is so and so. They've got 100,000 subscribers. I want to be in one of their videos, so I'm going to do this. A big example, or the recording. That's the other thing, is sometimes when people are getting recorded, they're more likely to do something because they don't want to turn them down on camera. You know what I mean? And I've heard YouTube channels like that say that, okay, well, so I didn't record this because I didn't want them to feel obligated to take the offer because they were worried they're going to be put on YouTube or something, which I understand. That's totally understandable. But, like, for example, there was this Amazon Prime documentary a while back about a guy that was collecting every NES game. And because he was filming this documentary and stuff like this, I feel like he got away with a lot of this challenge and his complete collection. For example, he had, I think, a friend that had a bunch of NES games that he was trying to buy for cheap, but he didn't have a lot of money. So he ended up buying, like, Contra Force, and if you're not familiar with it, that's a very uncommon, rare NES game for dirt cheap, simply because he was telling this guy on camera, hey, I'm making a documentary about this, or the guy knew that, and he's like, I don't have much money, so I can only pay you this much for it. And in the end, I feel like he gypped a lot of people, and he was using the fact that he was recording and everything that went along with that to get away with these. And I don't like that. And sometimes, you know, I know a lot of people don't really like ever force anybody to buy something, but there is those famous YouTube channels out there that they're like, okay, I know so-and-so's a subscriber, I'm going to talk to them, maybe they'll buy this game for what I'm asking for it. And sometimes it's not that they have any evil intentions in mind, like doing that simply because they want to make the few extra bucks, like, yes, I'm going to sell this to them for this much. No, I think it's all coming down to the content fact. But otherwise, yeah, the huge following, because I saw some guy doing a challenge like this before, and people were actually just giving him money to help him with the challenge. I think it was at a convention or something. They go, oh, hey, I follow you on YouTube, and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, would you like to buy this game? I'm doing it for my blah, blah, blah challenge. They're like, oh, well, here, yeah, I'll buy that, and here's some extra money to help you with your challenge. And it's just like, well, then it's not really becoming a challenge anymore to me. I mean, if you ask me, that at that point, then it's not a challenge, because people are just giving you stuff. I mean, up to that point, I guess, I don't know. And this is always on difference of opinions, because so-and-so will get on here, you know, they'll get in the comments, they'll start cracking their fingers, and they'll be like, well, technically, if they didn't put this in the bylaw, the rules, then they did complete the challenge, and your video's void, blah, blah, blah. And it's true. Now, obviously, if somebody would point in, or put up, like, the rules for the challenge, and, you know, put on there that cannot accept gifts or donations, and then they did that, but then they still said they completed it, then I guess, yes, you'd be, that would be them faking out their own challenge. So, I don't know, guys. This is just something I've been seeing, and once again, I don't want to say I'm pointing any fingers at any channels that do this all the time for views. It's whatever. It's your channel, guys. Obviously, it works if you keep doing it, or if you just started it. And God knows I would not have enough motivation to do something like that nowadays. I am much more chill when it comes to buying games. In fact, I've gotten a lot of it. And yeah, I just enjoy playing games now instead of more along the lines forcing myself to make videos that I wouldn't find fun to do, but obviously you guys do. So I want to hear what you guys think about this in the comments below. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to point any fingers at any channels or anything like that. But like I said, I have been a big fan of when the YouTube channels do this, and they show proof of either donating it to charity, doing a giveaway to their subscribers, or something like that. It seems more honorable to me, or whatever you want to say, especially if they did get help along the way for completing the challenge. And it's just always nice to get back, especially to your community. So, that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay rich, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. God bless, guys.